Hello, and you're very welcome along to the shed. Hashtag Irish Bills Mafia with me, Trevor. You're very welcome along this windy, breezy, damp, wet Tuesday night here in Ireland, in the west of Ireland. But I'm glad you're here to join me in the show, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Tonight's show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back at the Steelers versus Bills game at the weekend, and just a few bits of information from it and what I took from it. I didn't see it live. I was working over the weekend, but on Sunday evening I watched the game on the NFL Network, so I caught up with everything that was happened in it. Then I'm just going to go through the competition that I'm running at the minute. If anyone is interested, we have a great intake so far. We're up near 25 people, so that's a great start for it. And the more the merrier, and everyone is welcome if anyone's interested in joining. Also, I'm going to look at the American football game come up the weekend, the college game in Dublin. Just give a quick brief about it. I was there 2 years ago. It is an amazing atmosphere. 2 years ago, it wasn't sold out, but there was still Nebraska and Northwestern were playing. And it was very enjoyable. This year is sold out, so hopefully it'll even be better again. And finally, what I'm going to do for the next six shows, which should bring us up to the eve of game week one in the NFL, I'm going to look at six teams that could win the Super Bowl this year. I call them my dark horses. Now, they're not the obvious. I'll talk about that in a bit, but they are teams that you can look out. I'm not going to give you all six tonight. I'll do one tonight and one Thursday and so on until we get to the beginning of game day one, and which I'm very much looking forward to. The preseason's okay, but it's um, not the same as the real rough and tumble. And when your first team players are out there, you can see where you stand rather than you're still guessing right now. So anyway, let's start the show. So the Buffalo Bills went to the Pittsburgh Steelers last weekend, and it wasn't a high-scoring game. It wasn't even a touchdown. It finished the Steelers 3, the Bills 9, but the Bills won. So we'd take it small mercies. But what it was though was a very physical, tough game. And the weekend before, we played the Chicago Bears, and they destroyed us, especially in the defense. Now I know it's preseason, and everyone is learning and moving on and finding out things about their team and their players. But one thing that didn't happen against the Bears was our defense wasn't there. It was non-existent. Whereas last weekend, it really, really, they showed up. They really stopped Pittsburgh playing. They kept them to a field goal. And if you look at the two quarterbacks that they have, they put in Russell Wilson, who they expect big things of this year, and nothing happened. And they put in Justin Fields, and again, nothing happened. So fair play to the Buffalo Bills defense, and especially, well, to a few players. Jaquan Hardy, he had two interceptions. He also returned five punts, and he longest punt was 31 yards. And he averaged 12.6 yards. So, like, that's a great return from a player that's playing defense but can return punts for you as well. The other two players I want to mention aren't big names. They had two outstanding games. Was Javon Solomon and Buffalo's own Joe Andreessen. I hope I said that correctly. There's different pronunciations, but especially for like both players, they did mighty. But Joe Andreessen is a hometown boy. He is a Buffalo born and bred, and it's great to see someone there from the actual area playing for the team. Now, hopefully, he'll impress again this coming weekend against the Panthers. And if he does, he has a shot at getting in on the 53-man roster because it's players like that that will give you everything. It's the players you want. I do see some podcasts, um, presenters, people in the media on about, oh, well, if you don't go to this college or that college, or if you haven't played here or there, then you're not good enough for the NFL or you're not good enough for whatever. But to be honest, if a guy can go out and do what Joe Andreasen did last weekend and give everything and had an absolutely outstanding match, then why can't he? You know, just because he didn't go to these prestige, so-called prestige colleges, doesn't mean he can't play football. Players get overlooked all the time, and also players grow up. Now, I don't know anything about Joe's past, so I'm not going to presume anything or guess anything. But like, and in general, when players move up in the years, they also move up in top as well. So, um, it's just because they don't play for a prestigious school or college doesn't mean that they can't play NFL football. And I hope it'll be a great story that both Joe and Javon Solomon both make the team, both perform at the weekend, make the team. If they do on their own right, good and well. And if they do, I hope they have an outstanding season. But I really hope for Joe that he can show the people that didn't believe in him years ago that he can prove them wrong because he is right now. Now, other bits and pieces to take from it was uh, Sam Martin, our punter. Well, he had 5 punts and his average was 52 yards. So there's nothing wrong with that. If Sam can bring that into the season, because there was question marks over him last year. Um, if he can bring that into the season, then that's good for us. When we have to use him, hopefully not too often, but if we have to. And then Tyler Bass, another man there's been a lot of questions over, especially after missing the field goal against Kansas last January now, as it turns out to be. He kicked 3 from 3, and his kickoffs were very good. Now, for Tyler, this is a huge season, and it is, as it is for San Martin, because these two guys have contracts, have question marks over them, and they have to perform this year. Like, if we go out at any stage this year and lose and go up in a game, let it not be down to a kicker or a bad punt or something like that. Let it be down to us not being good enough. But these two guys have done okay in my eyes, not set the world alight, but they are our punter and our kicker right now. So these are the guys I'm going to back. On the other side, then there's a few injuries. So for me, the biggest injury was Quinton Morris, the tight end. He's injured his pec. From what I hear, he's going to be out for some time. And he is a loss because behind Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, he was the next guy in line. Now, we are blessed we have some other tight ends that can push, but Quinton was there for a year or so, and he's learning the ropes. And he is a guy that was number 3 tight end and is doing the job very well. So hopefully, he recovers quickly and gets back in the field as soon as possible. Other injuries that have been reported: Marcus Valdez Scantling, he's injured wide receiver. He's from week to week. Now, I'll discuss my thoughts on the wide receivers in a future episode, but I'm not too concerned, to be honest, at the minute. Um, I don't even know if I would have him in my wide receiver roster going forward. Yes, he has Super Bowls and he played with the Kansas City Chiefs, but like, um, as you would have heard my podcast last year, there was times he couldn't catch a cold. So again, the jury is out. He's a Bills player, so I'm going to judge him as a Bills player. But I don't want him injured. But right now, um, my jury is still, I think, considering him. And then the other news was Miss Trubisky, our backup quarterback. He's also injured. Now they have signed Anthony Brown. He was a former Raiders quarterback, and he's going to be the backup quarterback while Mitch is out. He's got a 1 year deal now. I don't know if we're going to hang on to Mitch or what. To be honest, I wasn't too impressed when we re-signed him. I seen him with the Steelers last year. He was awful. I've seen him in preseason. Now he was injured the weekend, but he threw a shocking interception, and he hasn't set the world alight. In saying that, call a spade a spade. They did say that there's no set plans or no game plans going out into these preseason games, so you don't know what he's been told or not. But if you were a guy that was trying to prove himself, you would be trying to prove yourself. And even though the coaches might say do this, if you could see something that might make you look good, you would do it. And for me, uh, I would right now be happier with Anthony Brown, who I don't know an awful lot about, staying as number two, because hopefully we'll never need a number two, than Mitch Trubisky. But time will tell. Um, so that was my thoughts on the game. As for the Steelers, um, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields were very, very poor. Again, you don't know what Mike Tomlin has said to them or instructions given to them, but the two games now, the quarterbacks for the Steelers have not looked good. So, for two big names, you would think one of them would be shining over the other. Right now, um, Steelers have a lot to offer in other positions on the field, defense and offense. Their struggles last year was quarterback, and it looks like their struggles this year could be quarterback. And in the division that they're in, the Bengals have Joe Burrow back, are stronger. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson firing on all cylinders, are defending AFC North champions and got to the conference game last year and will be looking to go further. And then Cleveland Browns and Stefanski's group of players are uh, it's time for them to put up or shut up now with all the money and stuff they've spent and the players that they have a team too that's challenge for a Super Bowl if things click for them. So the Steelers have an awful lot of work to do, and it'll be interesting to see who is the quarterback and B how will they perform because there's watching the two games I've seen so far of the Pittsburgh Steelers and there ain't a lot to be impressed with yet at the quarterback position. So now I'm going to talk about my competition. So the competition I'm running, if anyone is interested, and I've had a good few people and delighted so far, uh, is the NFL prediction game week competition. So over the 18 regular game weeks, for everyone that interested, I'll send them out the list of games on a Tuesday before I have a deadline put up. Once you enter, I'll let you know. But before the deadline, you send it back to me who you think is going to win each game. For each correct answer, you get a point, and the person with the most points at the end of the 18 game weeks will win a one of a kind hashtag Irish Bills Mafia hoodie and the competition name on it, and an Irish Bills Mafia mug and keyring. It's free to enter. It's just to get people together and socialize and um, bring the NFL world together. And so far, it's not all Bills fans that's involved. As I said the last night, excuse me now, get a bit of paper. We have Cardinals, Eagles, Bills, Steelers, Chiefs, Patriots, Colts, Jaguars, and Browns all in now at the minute. So there is a good mix of fans there, and hopefully we'll have a laugh. Um, and there's a wooden spoon for last place also. So the winner will get a prize, and last place will get a prize, but nobody will want the last place. But anyway, that's just the competition. Um, if you're interested, you can contact me on Twitter, or X as it's called now, Bills_Irish. You can contact me on Instagram at the Irish Bills Mafia. Or you can also contact me now on Facebook. This is I just opened it up today. Is Trevor Marley, and you'll get me there. But you'll see the Irish Bills Mafia. That's the only reason it's open for. So you can contact me there, if you're interested. But the more the merrier. If it sticks at that, I'm delighted, and if we get more, brilliant. So now this weekend in Dublin is the college football match between Georgia Tech and Florida State. And it's an event that's been growing and growing for the last number of years. As I said, I was at the one there 2 years ago between Nebraska and Northwestern, and I found it a very enjoyable day. It wasn't as big as, and in 2 years it has grown. It's sold out this year. Pat McAfee and his show is coming to Dublin on Friday, and then the ESPN College Game Day show. Pat McAfee will be there again on Saturday. Is going to be there. Um, there's a lot of work put in. It's Aer Lingus is sponsoring it, and hopefully it'll showcase Ireland again on the map for an NFL game. Um, in this, there's an awful lot of people working behind the scenes, but two of the groups that I know that do an awful lot of work are at NFL Ireland, Michael McQuaid and Mark Hogan, and their team, and at Gaelic Gridiron, Jimmy English and his team. and they have done an awful lot of work in getting the Steelers to Ireland with the college football, promoting it, getting people here, bringing guests over, and being part of it and promoting it. So if you're going to it, I hope you have a wonderful time. Enjoy it. If you looking for podcasts to watch or listen to, please give these two groups a shout because I listen to them and I watch them. I think they're brilliant, but they're also growing the NFL in Ireland. And when and hopefully when soon that game comes to Ireland, um, they will behind the scenes have had an awful lot to do with it. And if you listen to them, the people they have on, the people that they're involved with, they know their stuff, and it is a pleasure and a joy that I got to know them over the last couple of years, and they're gentlemen, 10 out of 10, all of them. So Michael, Mark, and Jimmy and Co, keep up the brilliant work with your brand. So the last thing I'm going to talk about tonight is who is or are my dark horses for the Super Bowl. And this is the preseason thing. Now, I have, I'm not going to count the Bills because I'm a Bills fan and that would be called bias. And I do believe we have a chance, but the 3 years that I've been doing this, this is the year I'm least, not confident, but, um, you know, in my head, this is the goal. It's a rebuilding year for me. If we are good enough to challenge and we are good enough to win it 110%. But I just think that this year now with Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, bringing them guys in, the new rookies that came in as well. Uh, if we could get to the playoffs and then see where it goes, I would be very happy because a lot of people have us third in the division and I getting to the playoffs. And I don't want to believe it, but it is a possibility that it may happen. So that's why I'm not going to go and count us as Super Bowl contenders, or in my head, I'm just going to take it game week by game week. And as the weeks go by, I get a picture of where we are. And then at some stage during the season, I'll do an episode again where I'll cut it down from six to maybe four teams that I think might be involved in the Super Bowl come next February. And if the Bills are there or thereabouts, then I'll leave out my buys and I'll count them. So one of the two teams that I'm not going to talk about because they're in the Super Bowl last year is the San Francisco 49ers, because they're going to be there or thereabouts again this year. And the second team I'm not going to talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs, because they're going to be there or thereabouts. They're two-time defending champions. So, like, I'm not going to bring you any different news or views going for them. So the six teams that I have in mind are six teams that could challenge for the Super Bowl. So the first team I'm going to talk about tonight, and I think is a serious, serious contender for the Super Bowl, is the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, 2 years ago, they were nothing. Like they were an NFL team, but they were nothing in the world of winning a Super Bowl. A couple of years before that, they had Deshaun Watson, and his antics got him traded. He wanted to get traded. He sat out a year. A lot of stuff happened behind the scenes. I'm not going to talk about. He went to the Browns, and there wasn't a lot of hope or anything like that that the Texans would get back to being a challenger for the Super Bowl again in the near future. But then they hired D'Amico Ryans, and D'Amico Ryans was at the 49ers. He moved to the Texans, and next thing they did the draft. And the two main names for me that stand out in the draft, because they're two players I admire and continue to admire, is Will Anderson Jr., defensive edge, and DJ Stroud, quarterback. These two guys are two awesome footballers, and they've proven it last year, and I think they'll prove it again this year. One on defense, he is absolutely one of the. If the Bills could sign him tomorrow, I would say, yeah, give him what he wants. He's that good in my eyes. And CJ Stroud. just something else. Then you look at their wide receivers. They have Nico Collins. And Nico Collins did an awful lot of work when Tank Dell got injured last year, and Tank is class too. Like both of them guys are good enough for any team in the NFL. Then they added Stephon Diggs this year. Now I will come to the Achilles if it happens. Was Stephon Diggs, if he's on his game, as I've seen as a Buffalo Bills fan, is very good if he keeps his mouth shut. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then at Titan, you have Dalton Schultz. So like as their top weapons, they've got three wide receivers, a quarterback, and a tight end that will could walk into most teams in the NFL in them positions. They have a coach who has transformed the team in 12 months. Now there is going to be pressure on them this year to continue that growth, but there's pressure on every team. So it's up to them how they do it. They have two very good offensive and defensive coaches in Bobby Sloak and Matt Burke. They have a very good backup quarterback in Case Keenum, who was at the Bills. And yes, he doesn't set the world alight, but he is a good quarterback for the backup stage. And it's a pity the Bills didn't hold on to him a bit longer, but we didn't. So that's just the way it is. Um, so out of the six teams that I'm going to say have a chance at the Super Bowl or whatever, this is one that is a serious contender. The others I might say are contenders, but for me, the Houston Texans, they got to the playoffs last year. They pushed the Ravens a long way up there in Baltimore, and I just think they are a team that could be pushing for definitely AFC Championship game, if not Super Bowl, come the end of the season. So we'll see how time goes and how they perform. But it's preseason, so we can make all the predictions we want. It won't matter until the games continue. So that's my video for tonight, folks. I want to thank you very much for watching. On Thursday night, I'll do another video again, and we'll talk about another team that may be Super Bowl contenders. Any news that's upcoming with the Bills, I'll have for you. And if there's any other news in the NFL, I'll bring it to you as well. If you like the show or watch news of the show, please subscribe and follow and share and like. And if you have any comments, leave them. And as I said, you can always contact me on Twitter at Bills_Irish, on Instagram at the Irish Bills Mafia, and now on Facebook at Trevor Marley. You can contact me there. And if you have any comments on the show, I have guests. I'm starting to book them in now for the season coming. I'll be doing special guest editions. So far, I have the Jacksonville before the Jacksonville game. I have Danica and Shayla that were on last year with me. They're coming back on again, so we'll have a bit of a chat there. And I have the Chiefs game. I have someone booked in for the Chiefs game as well. So I'll be booking in other people as we go along, and hopefully we'll have an enjoyable season. And you know, football is it's for enjoyment, and I just hope that when the season kicks off, that it will be exciting. That's all you want. Your team is there, is doing its best, and it's exciting. So far, looking at it, there's only one or two teams, and I'm not going to name them right now, that I think have zero chance of exciting the world. But that means the rest have, and that's all you can look forward to. So until Thursday night, my friends, thank you very much for watching, and have a safe and happy and healthy week. And as always, go Bills.